Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Ladd, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 166. We are joined by a very, very special guest today who I have been teasing. I mentioned at the end of last episode that she was going to come on, and I've also been sharing a few bits in the last week about some fantastic stuff that she's been up to. And yeah, both Pete and I are really, really excited for the guest today. But I will introduce her very shortly, and she's actually the first guest we've ever had doing the podcast live from a bar. So the bar is shut at the moment. It's at the university bar, and the shutters are down on the bar. So I said, hopefully we won't get lots of people coming in midway through recording to get a drink on a Friday afternoon. But I think it's all shut up, so we should be okay. But before I introduce our guest, let me just go to Pete. It's just myself and Pete today. Paul is not with us. So Pete, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm just looking at the screen now thinking university bars are a lot different to what they were like, bloody hell, it's nearly 30 years ago since I was at university. And it's like,
I know, it looks lovely, doesn't it?
Friday afternoon at this time, it was rammed.
Yeah, it looks lovely. It looks lovely. But I mean, I know in real, this is a week after the last podcast, but in real lifetimes, we recorded yesterday, didn't we, last week? So we haven't got that much to catch up with because we only spoke to each other yesterday. So.
Yeah, I've still got square eyes though. Now every episode is up there. We're all up to date on the
yeah. So just a reminder, if you didn't listen to last week's, go back and listen to it, obviously. But we now have healthoddity.com up and running, and every single episode that we've done, all 165 of them up to this date, are on there, and you can listen on audio, you can watch on YouTube. And like I said, we're going to be expanding that as we go and adding resource lists, and there'll be little profiles on there for the hosts, and there'll be various other bits and some merch on there and stuff. So that will be all coming in the next few weeks, or by the time this goes out, it may already be on there. We'll see. Anyway,
steady on. I'm a busy man, you know. I love the way James says all this, by the way. He's like, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and then I've got to do it.
This episode won't be out for about 3 or 4 weeks. So
just steady on. Stop promising the world, will you?
Do me. Okay. Anyway, our guest today is Louise Greer. How are you doing, Louise?
We're doing good. Excited to be on.
Excellent. So it is actually Louise's first podcast that she's doing with us today. So I said we as in me and Pete and you, the listener, will be very kind to her, and she's a fantastic lady. Now, we first met Louise, Pete and I, back in August. I think it was August, wasn't it? We were in charge.
Yeah, end of August. So.
Yeah, end of August. We were in charge Somerset for the Britain's strongest disabled man and woman. And that was head referee was Magnus for Magnusson, who we had on the podcast a few weeks back. And Louise was competing there. And I mean, it was the first time Pete and I had experienced an event like that. And we've spoke about it many times over the last month or so on the podcast about how inspiring the whole weekend was, and how almost like a bit of a life changer, really, the weekend was. And I'm sure Louise will talk about it. But I think Louise, you actually got presented by Magnus with the kind of trophy for the biggest sort of inspiration of the weekend, I think, didn't you? Is that what the secondary trophy you got given was?
Yeah, it was called the Magnus for Magnusson wild card.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, so he had said it was the one athlete who had gone through the events and never backed down from them.
Yeah, it was a lovely it was like a trophy of someone doing like a log press, wasn't it?
It was never had log.
Yeah, it was the best trophy there on the table, because I remember seeing that. And you got obviously the trophy you won on the day, and you got that as well, which was amazing. So yeah, Louise, do you want to maybe start just to explain to our listeners and to just kind of us as well, I suppose, kind of you're 26, obviously we mentioned that before we came on, and you are incredibly busy, you are incredibly you've just got so much going on, which is incredible, and we'll talk about some of it as we go. But just maybe talk to us a little bit about your growing up, your childhood, in terms of activity and sport, and how kind of life has been for you growing up and into your teens, and then all the stuff you do now. And what will happen, probably we'll have questions as you're talking, and we might just jump in and ask for a bit of a question as we go, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally cool.
Brilliant.
So whenever I was 2.5, I had meningitis and septicemia. So basically meningitis and blood poisoning, which then resulted in amputations and skin grafts and that kind of thing. So whenever I came out of hospital, the physios were like, what was the one thing you want to do? And of course, me being me at 3, I was like, ride a pony, because we had ponies growing up. Like, Granny had a farm, so we would ride the cows home, literally, like, all of that kind of thing. So I started out in a riding for disabled, and just started out that way. Went like once a week, had a little ride, and then for some reason my mum got me, we kind of like branched off from that, and she loaned a pony with someone else, so we like shared the pony, which was a terrible idea because instantly I got hooked. Yeah, so then from that, like, whenever I was 10, I got my first pony, so I was still riding then, and I still have him. He's 16 now.
Wow.
Yeah, so I still.
So when you got the pony, it sounds like you got the pony when it was like, I don't know what the official term is. It's not a baby, but
it basically was, yeah.
Yeah,
He was like 3.
Yeah. So what do you call a baby pony?
A foal.
A foal. That's it. Okay, like a horse. Yeah. So I mean so you were horse riding, or pony riding, I should say, from the age of 3, and that's something you still do now, isn't it? With the same pony, like you said.
I've still got my pony here. Still go down every day.
Yeah.
Where
are you based, Louise? Where are you from?
Gloucester at the minute.
Yeah.
But
Where are you originally from?
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I thought I'd get an accent.
Do you know what? When you said whenever I was like, we've had Finbar said that whenever I was at school. Tom Morrison was talking the same. Paul McElroy, I was like, that's Northern Irish straight off.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, when you talk back to what you used to do, it's like, oh, whenever I was 3 years old, it's like, well, that was when you were 3 years old.
Excellent. So that's incredible. So you said obviously when you were 2.5, you had amputations and things. So for people obviously who we can't see anyway, we can just see your head on the screen, obviously, because you're talking to us. But you've basically had. Well, do you want to tell us what kind of physical what amputations you had and stuff, just so people can kind of, when we start talking about things like horse riding and strength training and climbing mountains and stuff, people they can kind of have an idea of what the amount of strength and ability that you've developed. Can you kind of just explain what actually happened?
Yeah. So on my left arm, I've just got about a couple of inches below the elbow. And then I've still got half a knee on both legs, so it's called through the knee. So I've still got that, which means I can still weight bear, so I can still kind of walk, even though it is painful, but it's still possible. And then I've had amputations on all of my fingers. So yeah, that's about everything. And left with, like, I'd say about 60% scarring on arms and legs.
So when you walk, do you have below, you said half knee, do you have any kind of tibia below the knee at all? Or are you, when I see the photo, I mean, we'll probably use some, share some pictures of you on Snowdon, which was just absolutely incredible to see. I mean, what surface are you actually on the ground with? Do you know what I mean? When you're doing Snowdon, I mean, we'll talk about this in more depth later on, but are you on the base of like a knee, or is there a bit of tibia there, you know, a bit of bone below the knee, or what are you actually walking on?
No, it is literally just half the knee. It is right in the middle of the joint.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, incredible. So obviously you started pony riding, and you've done that. When did you yeah, I suppose did any other sports or activities kind of merge in as you started to get a little bit older, or was it really pony riding was your thing all through your kind of childhood?
It was all usually with the horse riding. Whenever I was 12, I went and rode for Ireland on the Paralympic squad.
Oh.
Yeah. And then had the chance to go to London, but I'm pretty sure I was only like maybe 16 at the time. So obviously it wasn't like, you know, the best thing for a kid to go and compete at London and miss half an education.
But you were at the London 2012 Paralympics, yeah?
I was on the squad.
Yeah. Fantastic. So then but you say that involved you missing school and stuff to
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, you know, it was the parents' call. So whenever, you know, education or ponies, it kind of came down to the education.
You in the background, ponies. I want ponies.
Literally just like,
okay. Whatever you say.
So again, so I mean, you know, horse riding, you know, with effectively one arm, or you know, and not all the fingers on that arm, and how does, I mean, I'm sure I sound ignorant. I apologize. How does that work? You know, I mean, is there, we saw obviously at the Strongwoman event that we'll talk about, the amount of kind of adaptability or adaptiveness or equipment, how things can be changed and things. I mean, is there a lot that happens when you're horse riding as well in terms of adapting equipment and that sort of thing for you? Or
well, I ride without the legs, so like it is pure balance and core strength, and then I'll ride with a prosthetic arm on the left.
Okay.
And my reins have kind of like D hooks kind of
Okay.
thing, that you can clip a thing into, and then you hold the loop,
Okay.
so it's much easier to hold. You know,
Yes,
like
you've not even, most people would ride with feet in stirrups, wouldn't they? You know, and then
yeah,
they'd obviously be able to kind of balance and support there. But you're literally sort of straddled across the horse, but your legs aren't attached to anything or aren't tied onto anything. No.
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
literally just it's a balancing act,
Yeah. Okay.
which is always fun whenever the horse spooks and it's going one way and you're like, I got a grip on.
Have you come off a lot?
Yeah. My pony that I've got at the minute, she's great now, but whenever I brought her home, she sent me 5 foot in the air.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a bit of an understanding because she had never been a para pony before. So she
Okay.
was like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's all this? So yeah, but no, she's like, she totally
That's,
great.
so are the kind of, does that mean that they're trained differently then? So they get to understand your needs and you.
Yeah, so mine is
yeah.
so my very first one, obviously, because I've had him so long, he can now put on his own bridle.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll literally hold it up and he'll put it on.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just
That's
have
like
to
trying to put a t-shirt on a toddler or something, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, I mean, eventually they can get their head through, but that's amazing. A horse, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was lots of treats involved in that one.
Okay.
My dog, I'm gonna have to start teaching my dog new things actually, because he can do a high 5 or a high 4 because he's only got 4, hasn't he? But yeah, that puts him to shame, poor little
Well,
boy.
see, my dog can even like pull the wheelchair for me if there's a hill.
Oh man, good job he's out in a minute. I'll be telling him how rubbish he is.
So yeah, so it's mainly horse riding, ponies and stuff. And then when did you? Was there something else that kind of that was there any other sports or activities, or did you move into kind of gym work and strength? I mean, because that's how we first met you, was through
Yeah.
the Strongwoman event.
Um,
How did you get involved in that? You know, I mean, how did how did you become aware of it, and how did you become involved in it and training and all that sort of thing?
like I kind of just seen it being done in the gym whenever, literally a year before lockdown. So I can't remember what year that is anymore.
It was about 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, might as well give it a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then it worked. And then lockdown happened. So obviously I couldn't do anything. I went back and like the numbers like started to fly up and I was like, oh, okay. Like, well, maybe give this a crack. And then I went to the Arnold's in NEC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I went there. I don't know, it might have been the same. What year did I go? Would you have gone the first year after lockdowns and stuff, or the second? I can't remember when I was there.
Oh, I went every year.
Oh, you went every year, yeah.
I
Because I
went
was
every
there
year.
a couple of years ago. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you said though, just to rewind it back a little bit, you sort of said you were in the gym and you saw people doing this kind of thing. How long had you been going to the gym, or what was the thinking behind just starting going to the gym in any capacity? What age were you when you started, going to a gym and exercising inside a gym, as it were?
So basically whenever I was 16, 17, I started going because I was on my school's kayaking team.
Okay.
Standard. So like I went and obviously like
So
did the
much-
rower and like, the weights to keep my shoulders like healthy and everything, but had kind of no clue what I was doing at the same time.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then I came to uni, and because I'm in a sports uni, it's very much going to the gym is kind of a staple. Like you can kind of guess behind me, like, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
There's no one in the bar because they're all in the gym.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, the other bar's open.
So
Um,
got a question. I've got so many questions. I hope you don't mind, because I just ask, because it's a lot of the time. I think there's a kind of I did some training years ago, like that was called what was it, Inclusive Fitness Initiative, and it was specifically around training people with various kind of impairments and disabilities, whether that be blind or deaf, or recovering from stroke, or amputee. That's any kind of restrictions. But I think there is a. I mean, you can tell us what you think, but how do people kind of approach you generally? Because I think that most people feel very awkward, or they're not sure what to say or what to ask, and they don't probably want to ask the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, or so maybe just avoid talking to you about certain things because they don't want to offend. I don't know how do you feel about that? Is that something that happens to you, or?
I mean, I had a PT for about a year, and she was lovely, but kind of wrapped me up on bubble wrap.
Hmm.
It was like, oh, well, we don't want to do this in case it hurts or something like that. And like, I came into uni, and because we're doing a strength and conditioning course, we have to do in gym sessions. So we have to coach each other in the middle of a lecture. And the lecturers were kind of like, oh, how's this gonna work? And then I just started throwing around weights, and they're like, you know what, she's fine, never mind.
So the question I was going to ask was, can you swim?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So actually, you asked about you said about the kayaking, and it just made me think, because you obviously, I think probably it was the London 2012 Paralympics that really. I think there was actually maybe Sydney as well. There was a few Olympics recently, but I think London was the one that really seemed to, in the mainstream, the Paralympics really kind of seemed to take off in this country anyway, and the kind of the awareness of what was possible and what people could do, and all the different disabilities, and the way exercises can be adapted and things like that. So yeah, kayaking. How do you kayak with have you got a paddle with two ends to it when you kayak, or do you use one paddle?
I had one paddle that had two ends,
Right.
and then but on normal paddles, they twist, so you have to kind of like twist them in your hand as well.
Hmm.
But on mine, it was like straight.
Okay.
So all I'd do was like kind of go like side to side.
Yeah. Okay.
And I basically duct taped the paddle to my prosthetic arm,
Okay.
because I knew it floated. So
Yeah.
it was all fine there. If I needed to take it off, I would just take it off and it would float. It might freak people out, but hey ho.
Yeah.
And then the other side, I was somehow able to grab it. I think they had just made me a really skinny one, because the guy that took us, because it was part of like school extra curriculum
Mhm.
activities, he actually owned a kayaking making company. So he made me like my own oar and everything, and yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm putting a lot of stuff together here, like pony riding, horse riding, core strength, because you're going to be moved around a lot and you can't grip on with your legs, so you're going to be, you're going to have to have a strong core. Kayaking, you said, doing a similar sort of thing. So this must all transpose. What's the word? Transfer over to Strongwoman massively, because obviously, that's I often say to people, your core is basically everything but your limbs, isn't it? And
Yeah.
so and that's basically you, isn't it? That's where all of the strength is. And then, because I noticed at the Strongwoman event as well, you didn't use any prosthetics at all. It was just all kind of straps and stuff like that for bars, wasn't
Yeah.
it? I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
because at the minute, if I was to use prosthetics, they can only hold a load of 4.5 kilo.
yeah,
So,
you're not gonna be winning with that, are you?
no. Can you imagine like holding that trap bar deadlift and an arm just falls off?
Yeah. It'd be
But
funny to watch though, wouldn't it?
incredible. There was two things that you did at the event that we were at that were absolutely, I mean, everything was incredible, but there's two things that really like kind of, almost blew my mind. One was when you were doing the seated sled drag or sled pull,
Oh yeah.
ropes, and I think I was behind you videoing you doing it, and it was just incredible how you managed to kind of, obviously, almost kind of, I suppose, wind it round the arm and then pull, and
Yeah.
then wind it round and pull, and you managed to get the sled the whole way down that course, which was incredible. And then the other one was the overhead axle press that you were doing.
Oh,
And
my favorite.
was that your favorite? Did you
Yeah,
like?
yeah.
Yeah. And because you kind of, obviously, you grip the bar with the arm that's got a hand, and then the other one, the bar was almost just kind of resting on, it may have been strapped on as well, but it was almost just kind of balancing, and you were pressing it, and it was just so, I mean, you train that kind of thing in the gym as well. You train those movements to obviously be able to replicate them in competition, I presume.
Yeah. So the right hand, the bar was actually just balancing on it as well, because I couldn't get any grip.
Oh, because the axle's obviously so fat anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
And then the left arm, it literally was just balanced on there, but I had my elbow bent, so it had like a wider surface.
Okay.
So it could stay. I think for my first lift, I'd forgotten to actually put my strap on. So for the second and third one, it was strapped, but it didn't make any difference. The strap's kind of there just for safety precautions. If it falls back next to me,
Yeah.
at least I can semi-catch it.
Yeah.
I
No.
saw there was something on Instagram as well, with, it was you doing a deadlift. What was it, like 100? Was it 110 or 20 kilos or something like that? Was it, how much? I can't remember how much it was anyway. But I just noticed, because I think James sent it to us actually, and I was like, it was you doing a deadlift, and I was like, you're not even actually physically touching the bar.
No.
You're strapped to this bar and you're lifting it off the floor, and that must be, I mean, that just changes everything, because you see people doing a deadlift and it's all about grip strength and get your lats involved and all of this sort of stuff, and then get your wedge and push your feet through the floor and everything, and you've got none of that.
Yeah,
So it
no.
changes everything totally. And I remember, was it Magnus? It might be Magnus or it might be Martin Ty saying it's all traps for when you can't use your legs and you're doing a seated deadlift. It's mainly traps because you've got to lift it with your trap and then pull back, and then you can get your lats involved and stuff like that. So
Yeah. And
I mean, I don't suppose I was going to say, how does that change it for you? But I don't suppose you'll know because you've only ever done it that way, haven't you? So
well, I can do standing deads as well. I just have to be in a deficit, so I'll stand on a couple of bumper plates.
Okay, right.
So then it'll raise me to like 4'9" because I'm like 3'10".
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll give me the extra height. But it's totally different whenever it comes to like trap bar or a conventional deadlift, even if it's seated. Because like the trap bar, you kind of still have to like engage your lats, but then you kind of lift it and then you have to engage them even more.
Yeah.
But you also have to engage your like obliques, so like your side muscles.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, you just crumble.
Yeah.
Or if you overbalance, you go backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the whole weight will just take you. And then with the conventional one, you're starting in like a really weird position because you're literally folded in half trying to grab it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like you have to get your lats and everything into place there, and then literally like squeeze lats to get the weight off the floor and then sit up, which it's kind of like a really heavy good morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
even like I had done a competition literally the weekend before in East Midlands, and it was like 100 kg rep for a conventional deadlift for reps. And I came out of it and I was like, oh my God, my hamstrings are like literally about to ping off because, you're trying to pull with your hamstrings and your glutes and everything in your back to get yourself back up again after you've gone down. So yeah, while trying to hold the weight and not let it slip.
And was that something that you did? Was that standing or was that seated?
That was seated. So I'm in the seated class. So I'll train standing.
Okay.
Which will just help with if I'm walking my prosthetics, because then it helps with my hamstrings and that kind of thing.
So this is there's two things here I've got now. I'm doing with James. I was like, oh, I've got all these questions. Which is easier, seated or standing? Or are they both like so different that your face says they're totally different? So because I've got no concept because I've never done a seated deadlift and I'm very poor at standing deadlifts. So
I want to say seated's better because you take out the balance element, but then I'm only balancing on a very small surface area.
Yeah, because you can't grit. You're not like with I deadlift sort of barefoot, and you kind of you're hitting the ground with your toes, like you're saying. You've got the feet there are very almost like you've got dexterity in your feet like your hands. So without having kind of feet to be able to spread the toes and to grip the ground and everything, like you say, the actual just lifting weight without that balance there. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? That's totally,
you kind of have to be like engage lats and then engage your glutes to try and get you up because nothing else is gonna and then you kind of have to like it's weird because like the way it is, it's like standing on a ball and then you have to like straighten yourself up while standing on this ball, because like the amount of times I've done it and I've kind of put too much power into it because it's like still a warm-up.
And what fell backwards or
I've full on like flung myself backwards and had to like unclip the weight really quickly or else it would have come back with me.
Right. Okay.
Blimey.
Yeah, so it kind of turns into like a clean.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
catch.
I'm trying to picture this as you say it, and I just can't.
I can send you the bloopers.
Yeah, that'll be a good. Like, we'll have a blooper reel. We'll stick it on the end. We'll stick it on the end of the podcast. That'll be great.
So
my next question was going to be as well, because you were talking about being on your prosthetics and doing standing deadlifts because that helps with walking with your prosthetics with
Yeah.
hamstring strength and glute strength and all that. Because I find that really interesting, because a lot of people don't bother with strength training, right? Because of whatever reason and all that. And then they end up like with walking with a stoop later in life and stuff like that. We all know this, right? Sitting at a desk all day and all of that sort of stuff. So you kind of have to do it to be able to walk on the prosthetics.
Yeah.
Or walk on them very well. And it's one of those things. And then, someone might look at that and go, well, yeah, that's because of the way you are and you have to do that. And it's like, yeah, but it transfers to everybody, doesn't it? If everyone's stronger, then it makes life easier. That's because, we try and talk a lot about this on the podcast, and this kind of, how do I put it? It just shows that it is needed,
Yeah, because like walking on them, you use your core and your back.
Yeah.
But then depending on what size of step you want to take, so if you take a small step, it's hamstring and quads. Whereas if you want to take a big step, it's like hamstring and glutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So like you can vary your is it gait?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can like vary your gait depending on what muscles you want to use.
So
like
do you walk with so I presume you're talking about sort of prosthetics below the knee, lower leg prosthetics, you walk with them, yeah?
Yeah. They've got like a fully functioning knee. I've got the really cool ones that are actually hydraulic.
Oh, okay.
You put weight on the heel and the knee bends for you, and then you lift your leg and the knee gives you the gait. And if you are unsteady, the knee will actually pick up on it. So then if I go to fall, it'll either lower me slowly or they will lock out, so then the knee doesn't collapse.
So how often do you spend, because I've never seen you in when you're the weekend that we saw you, and obviously the Snowdon thing you've just done, I've never seen you wearing lower leg prosthetics. How much of your life do you kind of use the prosthetics, and was there certain things that you do where you would use them and certain things that you do where you wouldn't? What's the kind of ratio of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't wear them around uni because it's literally built on a hill. And I'm still trying to figure out how to walk down hills.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously whenever you go down a hill, you put your heel first. So then the knee would just straight up bend, and I'm like, oh, on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would lure you down gently, like you've just said. Like, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyone listening out there who's into designing prosthetics, you need an even cleverer one than the ones that Louise has already got.
Yeah. There is some out there, but unfortunately they're not on the NHS. And they're like, I think they're like 25 grand a leg.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're at uni, you don't wear them, and presumably when you're at the gym, you don't.
No,
wear.
but if I'm like, if I'm coaching or I'm working, I'll wear them then.
Okay.
So yeah, or if I'm just going out, nipping to Tesco's or something like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then can you drive or?
Yeah, but my car is hand controls.
Okay.
Obviously, because then I can drive it both ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, super easy to drive.
I hope people who are listening don't mind me, and I hope you don't mind me asking these questions, because and I hope people listening don't think I'm being stupid or rude, but it's just, it's the kind of questions that that I would, the fact that I can sit and talk to you, I think it's good because it kind of breaks down, what you can talk about. But yes, I
think what James is trying to say is me and him basically sound like a couple of 5-year-olds. So can you drive a car, and can you do this?
I do get that because I'm with Meningitis Now, which is the charity that I raise for, whose headquarters are basically in Stroud, so I'll nip up to them anytime. But they've got a program, and it's called the Peer Mentoring Program. So it's like kids from 11 to 25 who have had meningitis either before or during the program, and they've come onto it, who just need someone who's gone through it to talk to. And like there was this kid that they made me aware of, and he was like, oh well, I won't be able to drive, or I won't be able to do this, and I was like, whoa man, like Come on, I've
No
got
limits.
enough speeding tickets to show you can drive.
So if you're driving, like you said, hand driving only, especially adapted car.
Yeah.
How does that work? Is it like more like a kind of a Formula One thing where all the controls are on the steering wheel? Do you know what I mean? Is it like
Um,
that? Or
Not really. So like there's a lever that comes out from behind the steering wheel which is then attached to the brake and accelerator.
yeah,
But like you can kind of see where it goes because it's built into the car. Like they do a really good job of it.
yeah,
And you pull to accelerate and you push the brake,
okay,
and then there's like a little like, how to describe it? It's like it's basically like a little switch at the top of it, which is then your indicators.
wow, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
then
you don't need those. You don't need indicators.
it's okay. I'm not a BMW.
And you're doing all this with one hand, aren't you?
Yeah, because then so my left arm will always stay on the steering wheel.
Yeah,
So it's got like the cup and ball thing.
yeah,
So
Oh, yeah.
then, yeah. And then like mine is semi-automatic, so I've got the flappy paddles on the back
yeah.
because what says Need for Speed like flappy paddles.
So it's like a Formula One car then, right? Okay.
Sounds great. I might
Me
have
and
to-
my little hatchback.
So yeah, we're kind of it's great because I know it seems like we're going all over the place, but we are moving in a direction. So
I'll just tip my cap and do that. Look.
oh yeah, no, we'll move there in a minute. But so you're at the gym and
Yeah.
what was the sort of reception reaction, I suppose, when you first started going to the gym, first time you started going to the gym, were people there? I know you said you had a trainer who was kind of wanting to wrap you in cotton wool a little bit, but were people very receptive to you? Were people very welcoming to you? Did you find it easy to adapt to go into the gym to begin with, or was that quite daunting for you? I mean, how did that happen?
I'm quite a confident person, so I will literally walk into the gym and be like, "Here I am. I'm me. Deal with it or get out."
Yeah, yeah.
Literally. Yeah. So I was doing yoga as well, before the weightlifting, and I mean, I'm part of a group now, and I call them the OAP group
Okay.
because, like, I'm pretty sure they're all near retirement age.
I thought you were going to say they're all over 30. It's like, oh.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a couple are. Well, no, there is a couple over 60.
Yeah.
But they kind of like took me on into their little circle kind of thing. So we like did yoga and all this kind of stuff, which was quite nice. And the yoga instructor was really good with it. You know, if there was something that I couldn't do, she would get everybody else to do their exercise and then come down to me and be like, "Oh, well, if we try this, will get the same thing," or that kind of thing. So yeah. And then
And were you from day one kind of adapting exercises and things? Presumably, you know, you were going in there and like a lot of I don't know if most people who walk into, I don't know what kind of gym you went into to begin with, but most people would go into like a commercial gym or a local authority gym or something. And the majority of what you see is machines and things, which kind of they're difficult to get on and manage and work at the best of times for anybody. So did you kind of go in and have to start adapting things from the off?
it wasn't too bad. Like, the more confident I got, the easier things I could work. So like I could use the cables for basically anything if I just attached a D handle to it. And like I would just go on in and use the rowing machine because I knew I could do that. Same with like the cross trainer. Yeah.
Did you know what you were doing at the time as well? So you're doing a strength and conditioning course degree now. Did you know what you were doing when you started going to the gym, or did you just make it up as you went along. Just like, okay, there's this bit of equipment. I have to adapt it this way to be able to use it myself. That's what I'm going to do. And
Yeah,
then did you just go
basically,
from there?
because whenever I was going to the gym, over here, like in uni, for my bachelor's, I was actually studying equine business.
Of course.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I had no clue. Yeah.
So to fast forward then to the kind of starting to see people do strongman type activities and strongwoman type activities in the gym, and then for you to think, right, I'm going to give this a go. Were there people around that were helping, that were encouraging, that were showing you how to do it, that were kind of almost like you said, the group that sort of took you under their wing for the yoga stuff? Was there people who kind of took you under their wing for the strength training and the strongman stuff as well?
To be fair, I went so I could bench, dead, and squat. And I got talked into doing a competition in Bristol, which was like a charity competition. I was like, you know what, why not? Like, there's going to be other disabled people there. So like, trying to think who was at Brits. So Panda,
Yeah.
Yep.
he talked me into going. And I was like, you know what, what's the worst that can happen? So, when, and then a couple other ones that I'm really good friends with now, like there's Gemma Campbell Stevenson. I literally like drive up to hers, walk into her house and be like, oh, hey, I need this deadlift stool. I'm taking it. Yeah. Yeah, so I did that, and it was an able-bodied competition. And I came 15th out of everyone. And there was like maybe 40 people there.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And then I kind of was like, oh, okay, that's over. Went back to training, and then again, it got suggested that I should go and text Ty and be like, oh, can I come and do England's? And he was like, well, send me a couple of videos. So I sent them, and he was like, see you, England's. I was like, what have I just signed up for? Like, I have no idea what the movements are. I don't know what the weights are. Like, I kind of like semi had an idea from Arnold's because they held a have a go day. One of the events was you like donated to a charity, and then you held out Thor's hammer like straight out in front of you for the longest time possible. I was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. So I did it, and I now have a Thor's hammer in my living room.
Okay.
And what's
Yeah.
it called?
Mjolnir.
Hey. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Marvel nerd.
James is going to get his. We've got an acronym hammer because people say acronyms on here all the time, so we have to hold that up so they can explain to listeners what it means.
Very light though. It doesn't weigh. It doesn't,
Yeah, you can hold that there for like 3 days.
it doesn't weigh very much. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
You
mine
put
was
that
like,
in your living room. Excellent.
yeah, as a doorstop
All right.
because it's like 15 kilos. So I was like, what do I do with that?
So
But-
yeah, that was at the Arnold's when you went and did have a go. So first time rocking up to the England's. How did that go?
It was okay. It was very overwhelming. Like, we got our briefing and everything, and I kind of just put my headphones on and went and sat in the corner.
Okay.
I was like, what is going on? Because it was inside an expo as well. So I was like, I kind of want to go shopping. I also need to compete. And like the copious amounts of Monster probably didn't help, or Rain, or Red Bull, but
Okay. So you were heavily caffeined up and heavily sugared up, and yeah.
That were you like that in Chard as well? Because like you had this smile on your face all the way through. So I'm assuming now. I thought you were just a happy, cheery person, but it seems like now you're just completely off your face on caffeine all the time.
Yeah. If you had looked in one of my bags, so I actually took a uni bag, which they're massive because obviously they're designed to hold kits, like your uni stuff for lectures, everything. And I think it may have had 15 cans of Monster in it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so yeah.
So how many of your uni mates were massively jealous when you got back and you were like, I've just spent the weekend with 4 times world's strongest man, Magnus ver Magnussen, and come back and I won the competition and he gave us this extra trophy as well and all of that. Did you walk in and do all that? Go like, oh, by the way, or did you just walk in and go like, yeah, it was all right, I suppose, the weekend. It wasn't
Well,
too.
I walked in with both trophies. I was like, look what I got. Because like, most of us are competing at a high level. So there's like one of the guys, he's going to play for Italy for rugby. So like me coming in with 2 trophies, it's like, yeah, nice, cool.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And it's like,
yeah, but you can talk to him about the Six Nations, so it's all right.
hey,
You can talk to him about the Six Nations.
oh yeah,
So...
we wind him up something shocking in lectures.
I don't know anything about rugby, by the way. That's so. Anyway, if I've offended any of our Italian listeners, I'm really sorry.
Okay, he's not Italian. It's fine.
But he plays for Italy.
Yeah, I think there's like an Italian bloodline or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A grandparent.
He had some Gino Ginelli ice cream or something once. And...
yeah. But yeah.
So the strong is that what would you say is your focus? Is the Strongwoman stuff something that you're going to do now every year and you want to progress with that? Is that something that you're sticking with and that's become like is part of your kind of future, do you see? Or yeah.
I definitely want to hold all those titles for as long as possible because like before I went to Brits, I did 2 competitions before it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to hold all these titles and everything like that.
Have you ever been sort of like abroad yet to compete and stuff? Because we saw the one out in Florida, wasn't it? That quite a few of the guys, and Gary went out to it, didn't he, as well? What was it? Strongman Games, wasn't it? Was there something there out there?
Yeah, the Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you out there, or is that something you would like to go out and do?
Oh yeah, definitely. Although Worlds next year is being held in England.
Oh, okay. So it's not quite the same as going out.
You can use that as a warm up, can't you? And then
literally.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
And then so this is a big thing, and the one that you've done just this past weekend. Tell us about the Snowdon and why, how did that come about? When did you think about doing it? You said you were raising money, I know, for meningitis now. Just maybe talk to us a little bit about that, how it came about, and then the experience of actually doing it.
So basically one of my friends messaged me and she was like, we should climb Snowdon. And I was like, haha, funny. And this was in like May. So I still thought she was joking. And but yeah, apparently not. And she messaged me and she was like, oh, we're going to go climb Snowdon on the 9th. And I was like, haha, funny. Yeah. But yeah, so unfortunately wasn't joking about that. So we kind of, put it on Facebook, like help us raise money, this kind of thing. And then my chiropractor was like, hey, can I come along? And I was like, yeah, why not? And then he knew a guy called Matt, who basically takes people up the mountain safely. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah. So yeah, he came along as well, which was like a great help. And then Mike Bishop came along, who's 3 times world strongest disabled man. So yeah, so it was just kind of like, yeah. And then one of my friends came as well. So it was just a merry band of 6 of us. Just
I take it one who originally had the idea did it as well, did she, in the end? One who originally had the idea and said that they're gonna do it, they did it as well, yeah? They didn't
she wasn't getting out of it.
Okay.
I was like, I will
the first ever half marathon I did was my mate Mark, and he was like, do you fancy doing a half marathon? I was like, all right. And then he didn't do it.
Yeah, because that often happens, doesn't it? Someone has
it's happened to everybody, hasn't it, that?
So did you try specifically for that, or did you just, was there specific training that you did? Did you have like a period of time where you knew you were going to do this, and so there was sort of some specific conditioning and stuff involved, or did you just rock up and do it?
Kind of just rocked up and did it. Like there was specific stuff that I had to get. So I had to go and get a new pair of legs, which are called stubbies, but they're made out of like peelite, which is like a foamy material, so it wouldn't like rub or cause any damage to me with wearing them for so long. And then I had to get like spare liners, which would then protect me like a bit more. So yeah, I had to get all that done. But yeah, apart from that,
I was thinking that because I saw it like James shared one of the pictures and I saw it and he put it in the group that we've got as well. And I was looking at it thinking like does that hurt? You know what I mean? Because it was like you didn't have like legs on, you had so it was
it was like an inch and a half of protection, but by the time we got to the halfway point, like it was so worn down that you could nearly see through them.
Wow.
So it's almost like, I suppose, like just like people have like athletic running shoes or something, like a what's it called, the sole of a shoe almost. You've just got that kind of on underneath your legs, and like you say, you're walking basically on your knees, but with that kind of inch and a half initially, and then as you walk on it more and more, it's going to compress and wear down. And wow.
Okay. So we were walking for like 12 hours.
Yeah. God.
Wow. So have you got any more ambitions for that then, since you've done it, or is that it?
No, that's it.
Okay. I was going to say like Ben Nevis or something like that, but no.
No, okay. I literally like came back Tuesday evening, got booked in with the physio, just had her this morning, and it turns out I've done nerve damage.
Oh, okay. Because so this was literally 4 days ago that you did it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I thought was my hamstring feeling like it was going to be ripped out of my body was actually my nerve refusing to be stretched.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you've put a lot on the line for this then, so that's
so like I'm supposed to be competing in 2 weeks, and until I get signed off, then it's not looking like it's happening. Which was a worldwide qualifier.
Where's that one held?
London, Static Monsters.
Oh, because Gary's going there as well, isn't he? Gary Clark.
Yeah.
Chard, because that's on, if I remember rightly, it's on Sunday the 29th of October, I think. Yeah. At the Commando Temple, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. Because I know we're going up on the 28th.
Yeah. Because Gary messaged me the other day actually and said I should come and watch, and I'm going to try and be there if I can. Not everyone who listens needs to know, but it's my mother-in-law's birthday, and there might be some might be required.
Happy birthday to James's mother-in-law.
Might be required for a meal, but if I'm not, then I'm going to be there because that's just in London, which is great. Is your just a quick one? Is your is the fundraising page for Snowdon still open?
Yeah. I'm going to leave it open for another week, because there were still like trickles of donations coming in.
Yeah.
But we're up to 1,600 so far.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I know one day I saw that I popped a bit in there and I saw you were near to what you were aiming for. You were initially aiming for 1,000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
1,600. So that's fantastic. Well, what we'll do, if you're going to shut it in a week, again, this is podcast time travel, but by the time people listen to this, that'll be shut. So we'll maybe I'll put that out in the Health Oddity group and on the Health Oddity page for people. If we can get any more in for that'd be fantastic.
We can just put the link, because you can donate direct, can't you? So
yeah, you can donate direct to meningitis now.
Yeah, we'll put a link out anyway in the notes. So meningitis direct, right? So we'll start to wrap up now, Louise. I know you are at university, and like I say, you're in the bar at university. It's Friday afternoon. But what's next? Obviously, you've got this Static Monsters event. If you're able to make it in 2 weeks' time, hopefully you can. I mean, what's the kind of the prognosis? What's your thinking? Is it likely or unlikely that you're going to be able to do that?
It's looking a bit unlikely because it's deadlift and overhead. So I
Okay.
might have been able to do the overhead, but I wouldn't have been able to do the deadlift.
Right. Okay. Okay. What's net? Have you got anything else in the calendar kind of between now and Christmas coming up that you're going to be doing, or?
There's not anything that I know of, but there might be something that'll pop up and I might just go, oh yeah, go for it.
Excellent.
I've
Excellent.
got a quick question. Where is the Worlds next year? In England? Where?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll be looking out for that because
Yeah.
I'll be there.
I know it's somewhere because I was like, oh, I don't get to go to Disneyland at the same time.
But I just know because when I came back from Chard, like my girlfriend, I just kept talking about it. I was like, it was an amazing weekend. It was so good. It was great. It was fantastic. Loads of lovely people and all of that sort of stuff. And she was like, you need to go to more of this stuff. And I was like, okay, I will.
Yeah, yeah. You should totally come to the one in Bristol. It's in February.
Okay, I live in Bath, so
Oh yeah.
yeah. I'll get the trip. I'll get it.
In Neilsey.
Oh yeah. Oh, is it at the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's his name?
Matt.
Matt's place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that who came along on the Sunday and helped?
Yeah, he
No,
came along on this.
Oh,
that was a different Matt.
No, it was the same one, wasn't it? Matt Bembridge.
Oh yeah, that's the one that owns the gym, but not the one that came for the hiking.
Oh no, not the hiking.
Oh.
He came along on the Sunday at the
sorry,
The
came along.
competing Sunday.
Came along.
Yes.
Excellent. Louise, if people, I mean, I've been talking about you all week to the members in the gym and stuff, and saying we've got you on. So it's it's absolutely great to speak to you. But if people want to kind of follow you, see what you're doing, all these fantastic things that you do. I know we haven't even. I mean, you're studying for a master's in strength and conditioning at the moment. You're a trainer yourself. You're doing all this amazing stuff. We haven't really scratched the surface yet, so maybe we'll have to get you on again in the future, and talk about some other stuff in terms, because I'd be really, really interested to know about, you training clients, and I know you do online stuff and in-person stuff as well. So I'd be really interested to talk to you about that side of it as well. But if people want to follow you, what's the best way for them to do that?
It's probably No Legs, No Limits. PT. It's the same on Insta and Facebook.
Yeah. So No Legs, No Limits, and we'll put a little tag for that, I'm sure. But yeah, I follow you on those, and like I say, it'd be fantastic just to see you, and we'll definitely try for that. And is that the England's one then in February in Bristol?
No, that is Olo Raw. That's just the charity one.
Okay, fantastic.
But England's is usually in May.
Okay.
So,
and then the Britons that we were at was August, wasn't it? So hopefully we'll be involved in that again next week.
Gary will be all over us for all that. Don't worry. he messages us like every 3 days. Like, how you doing? How you doing? What's going on?
Someone to put get away at the end, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go and do that. No, that'd be brilliant. Louise, it's been absolutely lovely speaking to you. It really has, and really thank you, because I know how busy you are, and for you to like you sat there at university speaking to us now, which is great. And I would really highly recommend everyone who's listening, No Legs, No Limits PT on Instagram and Facebook as well, Louise. Yeah, brilliant. And then I'm going to put out the stuff about the meningitis now as well. Online, and we'll put a link as well on here as well. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Louise. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries. Absolutely had a ball.
And how was your first podcast? Okay.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay, good. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. We really appreciate you. Like, we're well into the third year now of doing this, and we're bringing some fantastic guests like we have today with Louise, and we're just talking to so many different people from around the world who can help inspire you, motivate you, and just talk about fitness and health from slightly different angles, and bring some different things to conversations that we haven't spoke about before, which is great. So please do like, share, subscribe, leave a review if you're listening or watching on a platform that allows you to do so. And we are on a quest to increase our subscribers on YouTube. So that will allow us to reach more people on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, if you use YouTube at all, please go to Health Oddity on YouTube and subscribe to us. And also check out healthoddity.com for all the great work that Pete has been doing, uploading everything onto there. It looks very, very good and very professional. So we will see you next week on episode 167, where we have, what's our chap next week called, Pete?
It's Anthony Flores, all the way from the States.
Anthony Flores.
Another fascinating story, honestly.
Anthony Flores from the States. That'll be next week, episode 167. Thank you, Louise.
No worries.
And thank you, Pete.
It's been a pleasure, as always. Yeah.
And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.